What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 32 of the Roundup. In today's episode, OpTic's wars continue with back-to-back 3-0 defeats. Vancouver Surge look amazing with Neptune on the team. Lunarz has just been picked up by Gentlemates to replace Priester. FaZe won the R6 Invitational, however I did not watch it. And our MVP ladder has slightly changed. Of course, as always, we'll be doing this week's Call of Duty matches and our predictions for next week's matches. So if you are new, please do drop a follow. It's really no, we're not on Twitch. Please drop a subscription to the channel. It's free and it really helps me out. And like the video if you enjoyed. And yeah, we don't really have much else to say. Let's just get straight into it. I'll be honest, actually, before we do start, if we hadn't, basically, I like to have different teams with a thumbnail. So we obviously did a Rokkr one on week 1. But we did a Surge one just before the major, so that's why I've gone for the Rokkr as well, instead of another Rokkr thumbnail rather than a Surge one, just because the other one was more recent. So, first thing though we need to actually talk about is my Rookie of the Year prediction has now made his debut, so arguably now that has to be my prediction for the rest of the year. If he didn't play for the whole year, it would have been Rancor. So it says, due to health reasons, Super will be replacing Metals today. Obviously, he didn't do too well, but he'd only been scrimming with the Heretics for a couple of days, so first of all, I hope that Metals is alright. Some people actually think that this is going to end up being a permanent move, but I'm not so sure, especially after they just got top 3 at Major 1. But Super does get his opportunity, and yeah, he didn't do like too bad, but he didn't really do that well either. He did well in the map 1, but obviously Heretics didn't win their match at the weekend, and I think that was, I mean, I actually still thought they were going to win. I don't know why. But yeah, Super did get an opportunity. We'll have to see what it's like next week. So this has only just been announced, like, as it says, 42 minutes ago before I actually started this. So Lunarz has been seen as one of the best players in Challengers. He has now joined Gentlemates, replacing Priester, who will now be on the bench. So he hasn't been released, he's just going to be on the bench. Because obviously there was a bit of debate, should Skies be dropped or should it be Priester? They've kept Skies and Lunarz is in. So I'm looking forward to see how Lunarz does. It was obvious that they've got a good team, Gentlemates, but they needed a faster AR. And let's see if Lunarz is the man to get Gentlemates firing, because they've only won 1 match all season, I'm pretty sure, and that was against the Vegas Falcons. So we'll have to see how Gentlemates now do. Because I think it's a good roster move, and again, it's more players from the challenger scene, especially the Ormit side, that are getting these opportunities. You know, Ormit is probably the best org in challengers because they always put out a nice team, and then these players get the opportunities to finally get into the Call of Duty League. And it's Lunar's turn now, so he's obviously the next rookie that'll get an opportunity, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he does this week. So now let's do our roundup of the matches. So we start with LA Thieves versus Ravens, which I thought would be a relatively close series. I expected Thieves to win, but not really a 3-0. If we look at the stats here, Scrap played well, Gwyn played well, but he was called out for just kill whoring pretty much and not actually playing objective. Vivid on the other side, you'd think that he was playing with one eye again because that's a 0.6, 39 kills. Least damage in the lobby, not ideal. But well done to Thieves for a win, of course. And then we had Breach versus Falcons, and we expected Breach to win this. I actually had them winning this 3-0. But the control was won by the Falcons, so they've won another control. So they're getting somewhere now. But they still have not won a hard point all year. They're 0-16. It's kind of crazy. If we look at the stats here, though, Cammy, you know, he was a player that was definitely on that chopping block potentially after Major 1. But he's redeemed himself there with a good performance. On the other side, WXSL, just not working out. Their 4th is poor. I think Duam's okay. King, I think King's looked alright. I think King and Xnid are probably going to be the more secure players of the 4. But yeah, well done to Breach. I can't say well done to Falcons for winning a map anymore. I just can't, because it's not enough. They haven't won a series all year, and honestly, I don't think they're going to. I really don't think they're going to. Anyway, the last game on Friday, though, was a bit of a shock, and it was the Atlanta FaZe losing 3-1 to the Vancouver Surge. And if we look at the stats here, Nasty, who was going to be on the thumbnail if I hadn't done a Surge one so recently, Nasty had himself a series here against the boys at FaZe. A bit of a rough one there from Simp. Yeah, a bit of a rough one from Simp, but even though he had a rough series, he might be higher up on the MVP ladder. Let me say, the MVP ladder has changed because I actually didn't agree that much with my MVP ladder decisions. Basically, right, I was a bit unsure about Ibiza being at number 2 because he was actually probably their worst player at the actual major, but he obviously got -1 MVP, and I kind of think that the -1 MVP did make me put him a bit higher than he maybe should have been, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a little segment on the channel. So the MVP ladder has actually changed quite a little bit. There has been a few changes already after literally like 2 online qualifying matches for some teams. But it will change a lot because it's a reactionary segment, of course. Anyway, then we went to a game 5, Breach versus Gentlemen, which was my prediction. But this one was won by the Breach with a Neslo winning the searches and the control. If we look at the stats here, Snoopy had a very good series here. On the other side, though, Kismet was very impressive, but you can see Priester and Skies not too good, but obviously look at the damage difference. Obviously, it's like 3,000 extra damage from Skies, which is obviously a lot of damage because that will help obviously get the trades with other, easier for the trades for the SMGs like Kismet and Lins. But yeah, it was an okay series, but obviously it's disappointing for Gentlemates, and they obviously decided that was it. They've got to change because at this moment in time they're not making champs. They really aren't, and obviously they were my prediction for like flop of the season. I think I had Royal Ravens as my dark horse, which I don't think has been too bad so far, but obviously we'll have to see what happens with them in the future. Here, though, we have our Rokkr versus the Heretics. And here are the stats. Obviously, Super making his debut was not too super, but he was good in map 1 at the end, which I'm going to show you now. Renkor, though, has been the most consistent player on the Heretics. I think Real is the best player on the Heretics, but Renkor has been very consistent. Everyone positive on the other side. Paul X, I think now has definitely saved himself has got himself a few weeks in the tank with his performances this weekend. But Nero is definitely my standout, and I will say this, he is definitely a contender for the MVP this week. I haven't decided who my MVP yet this week is. It's probably between Nero, Nasty and Neptune, but I haven't decided yet. But yeah, really good performance there from the Minnesota Rokkr, but with a round 11 win in the search. But this was a very good hard point to start off this series.
They're over the other side of the map. They're looking at New.
This is going to be tough to break down. I mean, Real's picking up Aaron kills. There's number 40. He is doing everything he can.
You've got it. Real.
Trying to make things happen, Miles.
All on a Rokkr now, though. They've got full control. Rokkr in the driver's seat. Lucky looking to get the late minute pinch. Not going to happen. Wait, it's Super and Renkor, the heroes for the Heretics.
Surely there is no way, Miles. This is not going to happen. Not a comeback this large. Not in this kind of moment. I've been told Rokkr is the team with grit. Heretics, can they have enough?
Here we go. We put the grit to the test. Lucky holding the front. Oh no! A man from Secret. Real finding kills again. No, Super can't hold on. Still, Renkor with them kills. 10 for the win. Heretics are doing it.
How's this for grit? They're going to get it done. The last set, Geo for 2. The slide's rolling through. It's the contested. Geo gives you everything, but the new man on the blocks.
They're over the...
Obviously, Super got that 2-piece with the grenade, which obviously won them that, but Real 42 and 34, brilliant performance on that map from him. But yeah, the Minnesota Rokkr after that, they won this round 11, and that changed the game ultimately.
Hey, we're all going for it. Send it in, lads. Trophy systems at play. Real looking to be the furthest man forward right now for the Heretics, tagged up. Oh, the fence work is doing its very best to keep him alive. Here comes Geo for the kill. And he gets it. First blood over the to spear deeper. 2v4.
It's the grit. It's the grit, and Rancor can't get...
Very, very good round 11 there. And I actually want to point out that Gio obviously peaks, got good timing on Real. And then obviously they try and one of the Miami Heretics players tries to trade Real's death. And obviously Paul X is there with the headshot. Obviously these players are good. They know what they're doing. But yeah, really impressed with Minnesota Rokkr's round 11 player there. And just in general, I thought they played well. Now, we need to talk about FaZe versus OpTic because... Look, I expected FaZe to win this. That was my prediction, but then obviously, I'll be honest, I got to it got to the point when it's like, right, on the day I'm gonna say OpTic are gonna pull a shock and win. Yeah, they got 3-0, they got slammed. If we look at the stats here, everyone played well on FaZe. Obviously, Abizi did go negative. I don't know what happened to Dashi here. Kenny is definitely someone that has been very poor this season, but I don't think OpTic are going to change it unless it gets drastic, which it could do if this carries on for the next few weeks. On Pred's return, he was OpTic's best player, and people will say, oh, you shouldn't have taken out Hugh. It doesn't matter who you had in this OpTic team there, you were not winning this. This was a slammage from FaZe. And Draza, I actually think was the best player here. I know they'll look at Selim's KD, but I think it was Draza. I really do. If we look at the stats here, I mean, Dashi got a .48 in the hard point. And Abizi went double positive in the control. Kenny went 7 and 21. It's just not good enough. But look, as an OpTic fan, I don't want Kenny dropped. I don't. But this has to improve because look, if you were to drop Kenny, who would you actually bring in? There was people on the flank saying, "Oh, bring Fellow in." It's ridiculous engagement farming from them. It's terrible. It's hard to watch when OpTic lose the flank, honestly, in my opinion. Like, I love Zuma. I think Zuma's great and Octane's good and that. But I quite like Ben Jenison, but honestly, some of the takes on that show are really poor. Like, they are really poor. And I know it's engagement farming and stuff like that. I just don't like people baiting shit like that. Anyway, I thought these guys were going to be my thumbnail because I thought they were going to pull off a shock against Toronto Ultra, but I did not expect a 3-0. Cloud9 3-0 the Ultra, and CleanX had his worst series of the season by some distance here, dropping a .68. On the other side, though, Sib looked good, and I still think that Sib is their best player. I think everyone played well, though, on this. Everyone played well for Cloud9 in this series. There was no one that didn't play well. Yeah, CleanX looked like he was like just lost on the map. Massive credit to Cloud9. You know, I thought they're finally back. You know, they've got another game this weekend. If they win that, I genuinely believe they're back because my prediction was they would be the 4th best team going into this game. Are they they might be a bottom 4 team at the moment. There isn't really well, you've got Falcons and Gentlemates. Apart from Falcons and Gentlemates, which are the other 2 teams that are in the bottom 4? It has to be Cloud9, doesn't it? Like Cloud9 and I don't know after that. I actually have no idea who would be in the 4 worst teams. It would be those 3 probably, but I don't even think Cloud9 are bad. It's just that obviously they haven't got many points and they're not really playing that well. But who actually is the 4th worst team? I can't even say Minnesota Rokkr because they've been quite good this season. Surprised me a bit. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're a bad team, but you'd maybe still would have to say maybe Surge or Breach or Rokkr, or Heretics. Even though Heretics just got 3rd at a major, it's hard to say. I mean, LAG got 3rd at a major last year, and they were seen as the worst team in the league. So anyway, the Falcons are on next to start the Sunday off, chat. Now, look, credit in this S&D. That's a good S&D out of Vegas Falcons. Duan went 10-1. Not bad. But they do not get close in the hard points and didn't get close in the control. If we look at the stats, I mean, Duan was clearly the best player on that team. Had the damage. Had the kills. On the other side, Hydra and Ghosty played well, but I know Hydra obviously didn't have the damage, maybe, but that was one of Hydra's, statistically, his best performance of the year, I think. But it's against the Falcons, so it's kind of not really a comparison on how he's been this season. But still, though, I still think that LA Thieves team has a lot more to show. I really do believe this team has a lot more to show. Then we had Royal Ravens versus Ultra. Now, after obviously Royal Ravens, Ultra got slammed by Cloud9, I did think that they would fight back and win this. And that's what they do. It's a 3-1 win here for the Ultra. If we look at the stats, Kleenex again, though, a bit rough. But Joe Deceives had a very good series from the young SMG. I'll show you the round 11 on red card as well, because it's quite a good one to watch.
So, oh, he's giving it up. He's giving it up, and that's trouble. That's what I'm saying. They know about it. No trophies, no nothing. Good luck, boys. Opening exchange. This nade is going to matter tremendously. Slasher throws. Possibly connects. Damage dealt. No one sent in for the kill just yet. Beans finds himself another on the round. 25 seconds to party. An insight on the stairwell. Is he glitching? Is it a yellow? Is it a red? We'll find out later. Bomb planted. Ultra with the advantage. Last man vivid. And these lungs still have air in them. And they're sending it. Wait a minute, folks.
Now, actually, what's funny, and we need to talk about this, there was actually some cheese with this map at round 11 on red card, because it was started, round 11 started, Toronto Ultra got the first 2 kills, so it was a 4v2, and then I think it was Gwyn got a 2-piece, went to 2-2, draw. The game was, they had to restart the game during round 11. I've never seen that happen before. Obviously, Ultra were in a 4v2 position, but then Gwyn got a 2-piece, so it went to 2v2. Were Ultra cheesed? Well, they did get the win anyway, and let's be honest, I think they would have won it, but yeah, it was kind of crazy that actually happened in a round 11. But Ultra did get the win, and I think it was deserved over the 4 maps. And then we had Vancouver Surge versus Cloud9 New York, which this was a very good series, but it was won by the Vancouver Surge. They did dominate on that final map. If we look at the statistics, I mean, Neptune, again, All4 Neptune played well. This is what Vancouver Surge needed, and All4 talked about this. Just with how the meta is on this game, they need more aggressive SMGs that can get more kills. And unfortunately, that just wasn't what Hixie was able to do. Neptune has been in for 2 series, and he looks very good. He was the MVP of this game. On the other side, Mac had a very poor series, including, I believe he did get a donut in map 5. He went 0-6 against All4. But Kremp, you know, he was my prediction for most improved player. I think he's definitely been a bit more consistent this year. Look, I don't think this team needs a roster change, but if they start to struggle a bit more, then yeah, you could maybe say that they do. But at this moment in time, I still believe that this Cloud9 roster is still a very good roster. They just need the opportunity ultimately. But Neptune does deserve a lot of credit for how he started this season, because I have been very impressed with him. Obviously, that FaZe match, you know, I thought that FaZe would slam them. I didn't think it would be the other way around. And now we have to talk about this one, because this is a worry. It was way too late when this started, so I'd work the next day, so I had to, and it was in early, so I couldn't watch this. But Rokkr, 3-0 OpTic Texas. Kenny drops a 0.59. I'm not gonna say a 0.5, because it was closer to a 0.65 than it was to a 0.5. Shotzi doesn't go positive. Dashi goes neutral with the most damage on most damage in the lobby. Yeah, terrible from OpTic. On the other side, everyone positive for Rokkr. The actual maps, score-wise, weren't too bad. Like, it was close series in terms of that, but 3-0 Rokkr, they made it count. Nero, again, MVP of this series. Most damage on the team. Most kills in the lobby. And as well, it was 2-0 to OpTic in the... It was 2-0 to OpTic in this control, and Rokkr brought it back.
Map wins on the weekend. Not the most welcome return for Pred to the league. And Dashi's camera broke somehow. 15 minutes to get.
And it doesn't actually show you for some reason, but Rokkr did get the win here. And it's funny that we talk about Dashi's camera breaking, because this happened, funnily enough. This was after the FaZe match.
Sure they're feeling it, and it'll get better day by day in scrims, but we will not be seeing a Hacienda or a Red Car. Was hoping this was a series that might go the distance. I was wondering just purely because, I mean, I think logically you thought FaZe would win this. the only thing that made me question it is kind of the series yesterday. If you took that series out of it yesterday, I'd be like, yeah, this is a FaZe win.
Well, I just thought like maybe with the vaults, like maybe they, you know.
True, that's true. That's true.
Probably shooting, which they were, but yeah, just FaZe a little bit too good right now.
A little bit too good, and yeah, they'll take that one 3-0.
So yeah, obviously OpTic were doing basically like a stream where you could watch the players play whilst they were playing, which is pretty cool. And yeah, Dashy snapped his camera after getting 3-0 by FaZe. So that's why he didn't have a webcam for the Rokkr series. Anyway, it's now time for our prediction segment before we move on to something else. So let's see I don't know how many games we've got this week. Let me just check that first. We've got 10 this week, 4 on Saturday. So, Rokkr Ravens. Oh, that's a good one to start us off, you know. I tell you what, the first 2 matches of that week are actually quite good. Rokkr Ravens. Oh my god, no, that is the wrong. Oh no, that is the right one. Honestly, I get mixed up with the dates. I have to check. Right, Rokkr Ravens. Oh my word. Do you know what? I'm going to go 3-2 to Rokkr. But I don't know. That's a close one. Heretics versus Gentlemates. Obviously, Spain versus France. That's going to be a good one. Will Super be playing again, or will it be Metals? Lunarz debut. 3-1 Heretics. I'm going to go 3-1 Heretics, but I'm not sure. It's tough. Falcons versus Cloud9. I'm going to go 3-1 New York. 3-1 Cloud9. FaZe versus Heretics to start off the Saturday. Not a bad game, but it's going to probably be a 3-1 to FaZe, I reckon. Ravens versus OpTic. Right. Right, it's going to be a grueler. 3-2 OpTic. I can see TJ having another Legacy series. I'll go 3-2 OpTic. I've got to be positive. Gentlemates versus Surge. Right. This would be seen as a shock, I think, because Gentlemates haven't won very many series this year. I'm going to go 3-1 Gentlemates. Now, they've not won a Game 5 all season. I think they're 0-5 in Game 5, so I'm going to go 3-1 Gentlemates. I think they'll win a series here. The last game on the Saturday is Toronto Ultra versus Boston Breach. Ooh. That one is actually going to be interesting. I mean, you've got obviously the SMG battle, Snoopy versus Kleenex Jaw. Kleenex Jaw. I'm going to go 3-1 to Ultra. I think Ultra just have a little bit too much for Boston Breach. But you know what? Boston Breach deserve credit because they've got more points this CDL season than they did last season. I think now, which is crazy. This is what happens. They were just targeting better names. You know, their recruitment was terrible last year. They've just kept one team. Snoopy's playing well on the game, and yeah, it's working. Rokkr Falcons, I'm going to go 3-0 Rokkr. Ultra versus Thieves. This would have been obviously actually, it would have been. This is probably a better matchup this year than last year. I'm going to go. Well, this is actually this must be Scrap's first time playing Insight and Kleenex as well, which will be nice, and obviously Envoy as well, the Rokkr, the Ultra team last year. I'm going to go with 3-2 to LA Thieves. I think it'll be a close series, you know. And then our final match of the Major 2 qualifiers for that week, and then actually the week after, is the minor tournament. So that'll start on Thursday. Cloud9 versus Boston Breach. I'm going to go 3-1 to Cloud9. I don't know why. You know, honestly, I still have high hopes in this Cloud9 team. I really do. I do have genuine high hopes in this Cloud9 team in working and getting to a grand final. Like, yeah, to a grand final. So yeah, going for it. 3-1 Cloud9. Don't disappoint me. I didn't obviously put Cloud9 as my dark horse for the season because they were seen as like I thought that putting them on Ultra was a bit unless you genuinely thought they were going to win an event or win champs. So I went for Ravens instead. Right, that's it for the predictions. I'll now quickly just show you what happened in Rainbow Six Siege when it loads. If it loads, there we go. So FaZe did win the 2025 World Championship in the Rainbow Six Invitational.
This FaZe clan is your moment. Boston, ladies and gentlemen, your 6th Invitational 2025 World Champions. It's FaZe Clan!
I am outraged. Not because FaZe won, I didn't watch it. I've found out whilst I was putting all the clips and that together for the episode that you do not get to keep the hammer. You do not get to keep the hammer. That is such a cool trophy and you don't even get to keep it. What a shame. Honestly, what a shame that is. You don't even get to keep it. But well done to FaZe. Obviously, Brazilian CS is, Brazilian R6 is seen as like the best. And well done to FaZe for getting, you know, the biggest tournament of them all. So congratulations to them. Right, it's now time for our MVP of the week. Which is going to be Nero. I'm going to go for Nero ahead of Neptune. And I know that might be a bit harsh because obviously it was Neptune's first 2 series back. But I'm going to go with Nero because I think he was the best player for his team in both matches, whereas Neptune was the best in the second match, but Nasty was the best in the first. Time for MVP ladder. Like I've said, I've changed it a bit. I've actually put a BZ in 6th. We don't do a top. We only do a top 5, so I've just taken him out. Let me get the webcam off whilst we do this, of course. So Celium keeps his number 1 spot, and I think he will do for a while. Draza, I think should have been higher up anyway, so he's now number 2. And even though Simp was MVP at Major 1, I still don't think he's been good enough, as good as these 2 in front of him. Obviously, to finish the top 5, we have got Dashi and Scrap. I'm still going to put Dashi 4th, but obviously he's very close to being outside of that position. That's my MVP ladder. Let me know what you guys think below. Now that Lunarz is here, by the way, if you guys want me to do a Rookie of the Year race, I am more than happy to do that because we've had Super Player Series as well. So we've now arguably, even though Super's only played 1 series, we've now got, we've got all the Falcon guys. Look, I'd probably still put Kicks at number 3, even though he hasn't played for ages. But yeah, that's my MVP ladder for this week. Obviously, you've got to remember that it did have an impact, what happened last with OpTic FaZe and OpTic Rokkr. What I will say is, obviously the minor tournament will have an impact. So let's say that 100 Thieves win the minor and Scrap gets MVP. That will probably put him into the top 3. That's why I put a BZ at number 2, but that was kind of, you know, he has been FaZe's probably worst player or second worst, but the ARs have been their best players. There's no doubt about that. I don't think I've forgotten anything. I hope I haven't. But that is going to be the end of this episode of the Roundup. I'm just recording this on Tuesday night, just before I stream on Twitch, funnily enough. Thank you so much to everyone that's watched this episode of the Roundup. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy it, of course, please do like. It really helps me out. Obviously, like I've always said, if we have a successful episode in terms of viewership, 40 plus viewers is a good episode. The OpTic Winning Champs now has 250 views, which, you know, for an episode of the Roundup really, really means a lot. Thank you so much for that. Obviously, I know that it's on like it's for people who haven't subscribed. So if someone clicks on my channel, that video will pop up to them as the recommended video. But even then, that's such good support. I'm so thankful for that. And yeah, that's the end of this episode of the Roundup. So thanks very much for everyone that watched. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Make sure to follow me on Twitch as well. And until next time, I'll see you later. I'll also have another video out this like Friday or Saturday. Probably be the Life is Strange or Walking Dead as always. Maybe we'll actually do a Spud Ball once we've had the next week when we have had the draw for the Champions League. Alright, cheers guys. Appreciate you. Have a good one.